Today we'll be talking about my GOAT, Dick Grayson, aka the OG Boy Wonder, uh, Nightwing. I think if you're talking best Robins at the one, we normally go Dick Grayson. It's interchangeable. You go Dick Grayson or Tim Drake, and then Damian, then Jason. Jason was a pretty mid Robin. If we're going like ranking the Robins as characters, people often go Nightwing, Jason, Tim, Damian. A lot of people didn't like Damian's early introduction. Jason with the Red Hood is a very like riveting. It was a pretty unique storyline for DC to cook up. But the reason I like Robin and Dick Grayson so much is he is the duality of man. And he tackles something that, like, as someone who wants to create his own book one day, I intend to tackle, like, the fact that we all have multiple faces to, like, our personalities and who we are. Like, Dick lives at the balancing point between, like, light and darkness, hope, despair, independence, and, like, legacy, and then hope and, like, trauma, right? The start of Dick's, like, our introduction to him is a similar trauma that Batman himself has experienced, which was losing his parents. And I don't know, they retcon things a lot, but to my understanding, it happened because, like, it was rigged to happen. Someone wanted his parents gone. They were like the best acrobats in the world, right? And the key thing about Dick is he starts in darkness, but unlike Bruce, he doesn't live there. He's the balancing act, right? Batman is like one of my favorite characters too, to be honest, because there's a certain responsibility behind him. He's a very good legacy hero, and I like everything that Batman stands for, right? But Robin, Nightwing, I'm gonna call him Nightwing, my goal, I'm gonna call him Nightwing. The thing about Nightwing, think about Grayson. That's what we're gonna do. The thing about Grayson is he doesn't live in darkness. He doesn't brood. He's a hopeful character. He is like an intersection between Batman and Superman. The symbol he dons as Nightwing is a Kryptonian like myth / legend. It's a symbol from Krypton, right? And I think that's important because it talks about how he is meant to be like the best qualities of Batman and Superman. That is why, if y'all didn't know, he's been snuffed by writers in the past. They've been wanting to kill him off time and time again. Because for him to perform well is like, in their minds, Batman has to be getting older. The old age of heroes, like their time is starting to come. And because he is like supposed to be, he is the best of Batman and Superman. Like when he got powers for a day, the first person you want to go see was Superman. And like he just chatted with him, shook his hand. He was like, "Yeah, man, finally shake your hand without you having to hold back all that strength, man." Like he is supposed to be the best of two of the faces of DC, right? He's supposed to be like the best of both worlds. He doesn't have Superman's overwhelming strength, but he has Superman's compassion and integrity with Batman's IQ, with his own family's like agility, Batman's detective skills. He's even rivaled Batman in combat. He's even taken Batman down a handful of times. And when Batman first recruited him, he stated like, "This is going to be the best version I could have been. Like, I'm going to give him what I didn't have." Every time, even in the animated series where Wonder Woman tries to like say he indoctrinated Grayson into crime fighting, he's like, "No, I'm giving him what I didn't have. I'm not forcing him to do this. I'm not taking advantage of some kid because I need a sidekick because I'm immortal. Y'all just need help more than I do. I be having it under control. I took him in because I wanted him to figure out who he was." And it's the same way how even though Jason's methods completely contrast with Bruce's methods, he still said, Gotham has enough Batman. Maybe they need a Red Hood. In the same method, he understands that Nightwing's methodology, like these people are like his children. Like Grayson is his son, bro. And Grayson's even called him father. Like that's his son, bro. He doesn't have parents. Like that's his dad, bro. He grew up with him. He taught him how to tie his shoes. Well, he was old enough by the time his parents got passed. But like, you know what I'm saying? He taught him how to shave. Things like that. Well, it was probably Alfred. But like, you know what I'm saying? That's his father. And Grayson becomes Robin, and he brings like a certain joy into Batman's world. He gives him something to kind of live for, besides just saving the city. Because Batman isolates personal connections as it could be a sign of weakness. The Bat family is his connection. What Grayson represents is like a hope within the darkness that Batman goes through. And that's why when Tim Drake figures out what was going on, he tried to convince Grayson to become Robin again. Because Batman needs a Robin, not because he needs a sidekick, because he needs someone to keep him grounded. But when Grayson told him, I'm not going to like degress, I'm not going to devolve my character, I am Nightwing. That is when Tim Drake was like, yo, I bet I'm gonna become Robin. You need this. You need this, Bruce. This is important for who you are. Right? So in that way, Grayson is not just a sidekick. He's proof that darkness doesn't have to consume you. He's proof that Bruce hasn't gone overboard and it's not like in this type joint where it's like, I do it all myself. Like, take the Arrow. Great CW show. CW does great work. But take how he tries to isolate himself every time there's a conflict, because he survived on his own. So his mindset is, I can do this by myself. Because these connections are difficult, I work best by myself. I work best when I'm crossing between that line of like a line that shouldn't be crossed. And I've evolved to a point where like I don't see it as a line that can't be crossed. I do what I need to do. And because of that, he is able to delude himself to believe that he doesn't need help. He doesn't need partners. But Bruce doesn't go, he doesn't slip that far. He knows he needs a partner, right? In some twisted way in his head, he knows he needs a partner. And that is what Robin is. He's not just like some sidekick who follows him around and is like some extra pair of hands. And when Grayson leaves Batman to become Nightwing, he kind of rejects that he's destined to be Bruce. They covered this wonderfully in Young Justice. Young Justice has done some really good things and has done some things terribly. One of the great things that they talk about is in the mission, in their head, a little simulation where they thought it was reality, Grayson made decisions that was going to save the planet that got his friends hurt. And he was on a type of time where it was like, that wasn't me, bro. That was Bruce. I don't think I ever want to be Batman. Can't handle that type of, you know what I'm saying? So, in Grayson becoming Nightwing, he's choosing his own identity. Like, the duality of man I'm referring to is not like a conflict between two sides of himself. It's a choice. He gets to choose who he becomes, and these two pieces help guide him to fit in the place where he belongs. That gray space in between is who you are. And no matter how many identities or beliefs you have, you will always be that gray space in between, not any one or more of those identities that you identify with, right? And when Nightwing's in Bloodhaven, he is like, that's him officially establishing himself as a hero. That is him finally being out of Batman's shadow 100%. He's in a darker city in Gotham, but he still contains his optimism and empathy. He still is hope. He's still, and this is why it's the best of both worlds. Batman operates the way he operates because you have to operate that way in Gotham. That is what he tells himself. And then sometimes you do. We've seen in the animated series when Hal tried to catch the Scarecrow's goon, Batman's like, why'd you do that? He's like, oh, I caught him. You couldn't catch him. And Batman's like, no, I could have caught him. I wanted him afraid. I didn't want him caught. I needed information. Dick doesn't always move that way. Grayson doesn't always move that way. You feel me? He moves with like that optimism that is reminiscent of Superman, while he keeps his like intellect and strategic mind that he's honed over those years of being a detective and operating in a city as grimy as Gotham. And that is impressive to see. It's relatable. It's different from this overbearing optimism that you get from Superman, which is quite refreshing. I don't think it's really overbearing. Or this overbearing brooding you get from Batman. It's the space in between. It's the duality of men. It's the duality of these two titans that push this universe forward. And when he leads the Teen Titans, he's not just a fighter. He's not just a strategist. He's not just a part-timer, as Batman would say. He's a leader. He builds them up. He doesn't control them. He doesn't have contingencies. I mean, in his head, he does. He does even have his own contingencies in the comics, right? They go to him actually when things like that happen because they know he's like that. You know what I'm saying? Again, best of both worlds. But he doesn't control his team. He pushes these people that Some of them are kind of nobodies, or they didn't know who they were as like sidekicks or as heroes, and he helped them develop into who they are. So like, unlike Batman, who really exists to optimize a machine, he's like AI kind of. He optimizes what already exists. He can't really deal with what isn't known. And for him, that's like the connections. He doesn't understand your like he understands your psychological profile. He can predict you. He can do all of that, but he doesn't always try to develop you. He's gonna use you as you can best be used on the board because he is the grandmaster of this game of chess. You get what I'm saying? While Nightwing, his approach is completely different. Similar thoughts in the back of the mind. That's why you have those contingencies. But in the front of the mind, your people. Your issues are important, and you see things from the first person perspective. So I'm going to put your issues first so I can better understand you. And that is how he leads in a way that allows him to help people grow. Batman, as a symbol, commands fear. Grayson earns trust. He's a symbol of hope almost. Shout out Superman, right? And he's even become Batman whenever Bruce is gone and in these different timelines. And it's like he becomes what he resisted so heavily. He didn't want to be Batman. But when he feels as if he has to, or when he does have to, he becomes Batman and does it differently. And that still honors the name of Batman because even Bruce acknowledges he doesn't have to do it the way he does it. Sometimes he feels like that's the only way he can do it that way. But Batman himself does not need to be this overbearing person. And Bruce understands that. So Dick doesn't reject Batman. He redefines what Batman can be, both on and off the court, both as a Robin or as a Nightwing, as his son, but also when he has to take up the mantle, he shows that there's other ways things can be done. Is that a bar? Hold on. But yeah, like in contrast with Bruce, Grayson has relationships. He has literal relationships with like Starfire, with Barbara. He allows himself to connect. He doesn't isolate himself. He's not this brooding guy. Like even one of the greatest animated scenes, if you check one of the Liwu Fufus, I think it was greatest 2D moments or saddest 2D moments. Batman is talking, or Bruce is talking about how he had someone at home and he was like pleading, he was crying at his parents' graves. He was like, I don't know if I can do this. I don't know how I'll go out there knowing that like I have someone to come back to. I don't think I can take that risk. You feel me? On the other hand, Grayson is prepared to take that risk, and he knows that his relationships make him stronger. He understands that you can't separate yourself with the mask. And in Batman's case, he's convinced himself that Bruce is the mask, not Batman. But in Nightwing's case, Nightwing and Grayson are the same person because he doesn't have to cross a line in the field that he doesn't agree with on a philosophical level, but like he had to do it. He doesn't make that impossible choice. He makes his own way. And that's why when you think of those teenage heroes, or those heroes that understand responsibility, people that come to your mind is like your Spider-Mans, like even Invincible comes to mind, like teenage hero vibe. You think of the Flash, you think of Nightwing, you think of these people that bear these crazy responsibilities, but still manage to have like the connection. They still have this relatability and like human nature to them, so to speak. And it's like Grayson embraces humanity. He doesn't sacrifice it for the mission. Humanity comes first. He has a similar trauma to Bruce in terms of losing his parents, but he doesn't let that isolation turn that trauma into obsession. He instead uses connections. He has balance in his life. He understands that he's not a mask. He understands that his past shapes him, but doesn't decide who he becomes. Batman, more so Bruce, understands that one of his greatest accomplishments is Dick Grayson, his son, the man who went from Boy Wonder to Nightwing. He watched that boy grow up, you know? And something that Grayson understands that Batman came to learn is that you don't have to lose the light, like sort of metaphorically, you don't have to lose your light to survive in the dark. There's other ways. There's another way. That's why Batman is not like some Frank Castle clone, and that's why no disrespect to Punisher, but that is also why like writers will tell you Batman keeps candy in some of his utility pouches for little kids. If you write a Batman that would ignore a little kid in danger, you didn't write Batman right. And a lot of the stories, when he has the all black suit, he changed it to the gray and blue. They give a canonical reason because that all black fit made the children think that he was the bad guy. So he went for lighter colors. It's still kind of dark, so he can be in the shadows, but lighter colors to not scare off children. He gets a kid, and one of the animated films, and he's like, "Oh, who's your favorite hero?" She says, "Superman." And instead of being, he's like, "I got a secret. He's my favorite hero too." Like Batman, Bruce can connect, but his symbol of being Batman is putting fear in these hearts. He's the criminal for criminals. He doesn't cross the line and kill, but he's the closest thing a hero can be to being a criminal for criminals. While Nightwing is just hope, similar to Superman, but he has that reality. He has that human nature to him because he's not an alien. You know what I'm saying? He is Batman's greatest success. He's not a copy of Batman. He's not a clone for Bruce. And Bruce understands that. Grayson proves that you can honor who you come from and where you come from without being trapped by it. And even if he was trapped by it, he uses his agility both mentally and literally to slip past that. You don't need an ultimatum. You don't need to have a team that you can't trust. He built the Titans up. He supported them emotionally. He shows that the strongest leaders don't stand above the people that they lead. They stand amongst the people that they lead. It's the same thought process as no man is bigger than the program. You know what I'm saying? To bring it to my AVE. You feel me? It's like he chose his identity. Being Robin was not like a choice. It was like he had to cling to something almost. Not that he ever rejected it, but like he chose something because something in his life was taken away from him. So that was a chance for him to have a choice. So it was like, oh, okay, I'll be Robin. But then he chose to be Nightwing. And then when Batman went missing, he chose to be Batman. And he still came back to being Nightwing. He didn't have this obsession with being Batman because he felt like he was a sidekick. I have everything I ever wanted. No. He showed that he can be adaptable. He can be flexible. His identity evolves because he allows it to. Instead of suppressing emotion, he processes emotion. He goes through those things. He helps those people. That is Grayson. He's what Batman could have been. And that's not to say Batman is not enough as is, but they're two different people. Grayson is a duality between two titans. He's the meat and the middle way of their Superman. This figure greater than people, the best man you can be. He's better than you in every facet of the way, but his compassion is what keeps him grounded. And then you have Bruce, a regular man who fights in the shadows and uses every advantage he can to put himself above these criminals for the sake of the innocent. Grayson is the meeting in the middle of that idea. He didn't escape darkness by going to Bloodhaven. He learned how to live with darkness. He's not Batman's shadow. He's what Batman couldn't be. He is his father's greatest treasure. The duality that Grayson hones isn't a weakness. It's control. Control over who he is and where he wants to go. He proves that you can carry darkness, you can carry a brief past, and you can still be the light. I appreciate y'all for sticking through this video. This is a bit longer than the other ones, but this is my goal. I feel like I need to say something. I still don't know what I'm gonna do in terms of these videos. I might just extract the audio and put Subway Surfer gameplay as I like, yeah. But who knows, man? Who knows? Appreciate y'all for watching, and as always, make sure you check the description down below for the Discord community. Make sure you stay happy, healthy, and hydrated. You know what time to find me next. Peace.